February 1967. TV producer Robert Reed was working on ITV's World of Sport and was looking for an event that wasn't affected by the British weather. His answer was to take rally drivers, stick them on a short mixed surface track and race them wheel to wheel in short races. And that first event ran at Lydden Hill in Kent, saw Vic Elford win in a borrowed Porsche 911. Within 2 years, 10 million Brits were watching on a Saturday afternoon. The sport spread to Holland, then Scandinavia, and by 1973, the FIA introduced the first European Championship. Through the 80s, it got serious and loud. When the Group B cars were banned from the World Rally Championship in 1986, the monsters didn't disappear. Instead, the Ford RS200s, Peugeot 205 T16s and Audi Sport Quattros found a new home in rallycross, unleashing somewhere north of 600 horsepower onto tracks that were roughly a kilometre long. Norwegian driver Martin Schanker, better known as Mr. Rallycross, would go on to win 6 European titles and become the sport's first true superstar. When the Group B machines were eventually phased out in the early 90s, the TV cameras followed, and for a while, rallycross lived in the shadows. In 2014, everything changed. IMG relaunched the series as the FIA World Rallycross Championship, one of only 5 FIA World titles in motorsport at the time.
Hello and welcome to the FIA World Rallycross Championship here in Portugal. RX is back and there's one big difference. It's gone global.
The sport that was invented for television had eventually and finally found its audience again. After an unsuccessful foray into an electric era that saw both manufacturers and fans leave, the Ice Monsters are now back in an all-new European Championship. Joining me to discuss this thrilling sport on the show today are rallycross presenter Andrew Coley and driver Klara Andersson. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you?
I'm
Klara,
good,
you
thanks.
can go first.
Yeah, I'm good.
Great start.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. I love how this interview is going already. It's going to be good. It's going to be
I'm
cool.
fine. As we briefly said before we started recording, we've knocked a wall down in my house on purpose. I haven't driven into it or anything. And so the house is an absolute bomb site. I'm surrounded by furniture. I've done my best to not show the carnage, but there is carnage. But everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. How are you?
I haven't got to that point yet. There is going to be some work doing soon, but I'm all right at the moment. I'm just like so many interviews coming. It's ridiculous.
Well, thanks for having us on, Drew. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Happy to have you on, guys. And you're here to talk about rallycross, something that I've kind of rediscovered actually recently. I absolutely loved Latvia. What an event. It was so good. And it's great to see the old cars back, actually. It was so great to see the fire-breathing 600 brake horsepower monsters back on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I had a brilliant weekend. Klara did join us for a bit in the commentary box. It's the most fun I've had on a rallycross broadcast for a long time. You know, I love having the internal combustion cars back. Again, I know it's affected Klara's career in a not great way, and I think you have to remember that the electric side bought money and manufacturer backing in some ways, but probably not enough to sustain the series long term. But to have the noise back, for me, it's even more that it's the volume of entries. We had stories. We had people who had a bad heat and had to start in an early one and needed to win the start, and strategy, and people desperately trying to win against Johan and teaming up against him, and he, he clocked the fact I joker. Everybody knows now he jokers, you joker. Don't give him 2 laps. He only needs 1 anyway. So it felt like old rallycross. It felt like there were consequences if you had a bad heat, if you didn't turn up. It felt like there was depth of entry and every race was worth watching. It was the total opposite of what last year for me. Obviously, I missed the World Championship for a few years working in America. And, with a low entry count, it's just hard work. The introduction of the new classes, it just felt like I felt when we were doing this from like 2014 through to 2020. And so I'm hopeful it's the start of something new. But obviously, Klara will have something to say about the weekend as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to be back in the paddock for sure. I would love to be back behind the wheel on the grid. But it was, like Andrew said, I think it was a great first weekend of the year. Lots of cars. I really enjoyed the new classes. I think they are fitting the championship very, very well. And for me, coming up, like when I was a bit younger, I would have loved a class like this to start my career in international rallycross. And like Andrew also mentioned, to have, I mean, the top guys like Johan, Backerud, Baby, but also some of the newcomers coming up. I mean, it was, just a great vibe. And the new format, it added for sure some drama with now the quarterfinals. So, can't wait for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was super exciting to watch. I mean, I was sort of simultaneously watching the footage and searching out for the cadet cars. It's like, how much are they? How much are they?
Yeah, they're pretty reasonable. You can get a cross car for about 30k, I think, maybe a bit more. Is that around about right, Klara? 30?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But the new cars, the ones that I love cross car. It's brilliant. There's an FIA cross car series already as well. And of course all the national championships, which makes that really attractive. But I really liked RX4.
Me too.
Those cars are like, you could get UC Pinamaki was telling me you could pick one up second hand for about 60k, maybe 10k more if you want a new one. And it's just the amount you can do with it. You go rallying with it, you can do rallycross with it, and the racing was so close. One of the heats, we had all 4 cars over the road over the line, inside 0.6 of a second. And I loved it. We had Anna Rousset competing in it as well. So we had a female driver in the category, which we need, and we need Klara back in the top category. And just a bunch of youngsters who were doing battle for reasonable money. Super 1600 RX3 is great, but it's so expensive, and the cars are, they're up here the whole time. They need rebuilding all the time. And RX4, I think, is a great addition. So, I'd second that. It was good. I'm looking myself.
I must admit, it is nice to see the RX4s in the basically the Rally Ford machinery, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was actually going to come to you first, actually, Andrew, and ask you to do something that you do probably quite a lot, and that's just explain what rallycross is to the people that aren't aware and how it works.
Sure. So rallycross is think of it as a cross between rallying and racing. So it's a mixed surface discipline, part tarmac, part gravel, and you race against other cars at the same time. So where rallying is 1 car at a time, rallycross is up to 6 cars at a time. So we have 4 qualifying heats in FIA rallycross where there are 5 cars that start in a line. They do 4 laps. One of those is a joker lap. So you do a separate lap, which is slightly longer, and that's what brings in the tactical element of rallycross. So you choose, did I win the start? Do I want to get out of traffic? When can I go? How quick are the guys behind me? That kind of thing. From that, you get a qualifying order, and then we go through to quarterfinals, semi-finals, and a final, and the overall winner of the event is the winner of the final. But the heats are really fun, and that's one of the good things. It's not like one qualifying session, on a fastest lap. You have to race, and there's tactics and pace based on that as well. It's based on the clock. The weather can affect it. The track conditions can affect it. So it's a brilliant sport. And from my point of view as a commentator, we have the occasional terrible race in most series, and in rallycross, if you get a terrible race, it's done in 3 minutes. So it's great, It's built, it's perfect for social media. It's perfect for short attention spans and increasingly, TikTok, Instagram, that kind of thing. You could watch a whole race in 3-4 minutes and have just be blown away by it. You always see in the comments, I can't believe I haven't heard about this. This is better than F1. Yes, it is. So tell your friends. It really it's perfect for television.
It is, and the digital media. I must admit, though, Klara, do we still have spotters in rallycross?
Yeah, no, definitely. I was assistant spotter now in Latvia. So basically, I was doing the splits and telling Charles, the spotter, when to take Rokas into the joker. But for sure, the spotter is a key part of the game. Especially now when we have so many cars, you need to be so strategic with everything you do, because now you can't have a bad heat, and you can't joker and be behind someone that is maybe slower than you. It will affect maybe back in the past it would be maybe two drops in the heat, but now if you lose 2 seconds from it can be 15 cars that will go ahead of you. So it's a key part.
Not sure you're going to be able to answer this because it might be a closely kept secret, but how do you decide when to tell your driver to go?
For me, it's you need to scout the drivers that you're racing against. And for example, it depends a lot if it's in Q1, Q4, semifinal, final. Semifinal, final, it's only the position that matters. Then you can have the time, but you need to be in the top 3 basically. But if you are in Q1, it's still early in the weekend. You need to have the points. So there you need to play it a little bit more safe maybe, and not be involved in too much drama per se. But yeah, I mean, it's really case by case. That usually you take the split between your car and the car that you are fighting at the moment, and you try to beat them all, but mainly that one.
I imagine there's some really serious tactics that happen between the crews in that sort of situation.
There are, and I mean, the best spotters as well. There are certain tracks where it's strategically better to joker not on the last lap. So the Estering in Germany is one of those, because it's uphill and slow out the joker lap. You can affect your overall time. So you're better to joker on not the last lap. So you'll see everybody go on lap 3. It depends where the joker is in the lap. Like if it's in the first corner and you lose the first corner, so second corner at Holliers, for instance, in Sweden, the driver will often make a call on whether or not you're going to make it. So your inside turn 1 means you're outside turn 2. If someone's beating you to the apex, you might as well go joker, but not if there's a slow car behind you. But then that depends on the joker delta. So if the joker delta is only a second and you're in P2, you'll probably get in and out before the car in P4. But if the joker delta is 3 seconds, you won't. They'll all be there in front of you, and then you're screwed. So it's track dependent. It's who's in the race with you. It's did I win the start, and it's where is the joker in the lap. And the more experience you get, I've always said, when I get fired as a television commentator, which is inevitable one day, I'll become a spotter, because I think I've watched more rallycross than anyone else in the world now. So
For sure.
you have a really you just we get, often we ask the question. Klara's been in the box and I'm like, when do you go? And we'll both be like, you should have gone there. I should have gone a lap back. You had the gap and it's gone.
Yeah.
And you're just watching splits the whole time. And the spotters have normally the TV feed, but that's delayed by a couple of seconds normally to them. Obviously, they're looking out the spotter's truck, actually looking at the track, and then they have the timing screens, which are immediate. They're to the 100th, but still, you'll see them with a manual stopwatch, and they'll time it off a post at the back. When the car passes the telegraph pole, click, 2.3, not enough. And it's mad, isn't it, Klara? The stress in there is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, everyone can be a good spotter on the grandstands, but when you are there, like with the headphones on, and you know that you need to take a decision in the moment that can make or break the race. It's so many different variables that you need to take into account, but it's also quite fun. I mean, I love like the thrill of it in that sense.
So, I mean, spotter is what it's known as, but you are effectively the strategist.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're the Formula One strategist, effectively. So, majorly important role. Kind of understandable why the drivers get in trouble when they ignore you, then, I guess.
Definitely.
They normally say the radio wasn't working, but that's bollocks
the best
half
excuse.
the time.
Yeah, racing driver excuses. Obviously, there's a book. Yeah. We all know that.
If it had worked out, it would have been their decision. But if it doesn't work out, the radio wasn't working.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Let's take it back then. Let's actually discuss what rallycross is all about. And something that we're going to come back to a little bit later on when we discuss the electric era is rallycross's identity. It forms such a core part of what it is that we kind of really need to discuss what that is and what that looks like. So it started off life amazingly as an activity to fill a TV spot, wasn't it? When horse racing got cancelled in 1967, it was Robert Reid, I believe, that was behind it. And then that very quickly developed into what became its own identity, its own sport. And we had people like John Taylor, for instance, come in, Roger Clark, rally drivers effectively, with proper Ford rally cars in those early days. And then it developed and it continued. But there are far more other elements, aren't there, that make up rallycross's identity?
Klara, go on, you go.
Yeah, but I would love to hear your answer first, because I mean, you were alive in this point. I wasn't, so maybe you can start.
When Roger Clark was doing it, you cheeky sod. But you're right. That's very fair. So I mean, the sport's older than me, and I'm knocking on a bit. So it has been around a long time, and as you say, I suppose the fact it was created for TV gives you a good indicator of why it's so good on TV. Grandstand was a Saturday afternoon TV show here in the UK, Klara, and it used to go, we're going over here for the football scores. Now we're going up to Ascot. We'll see the horse race, and as Drew said, the horse racing will get cancelled. So someone's gone, what the bloody hell can we do in 4 minutes that will be fun, or 6 minutes, or whatever the slot was, and that was where it came from. I think Vic Elford won the first one in the Porsche 911 press car, which he borrowed for the event, which is pretty wild.
And destroyed.
Yeah, and it all took off. It all took off from that. I think it was such a success that the producers were like, "Well, this is great. Organise another one." And I suppose for me, my first awareness of it as a sport properly would have been early 90s. So I'd been watching. I used to sit and watch the Grand Prix with my dad, Nigel Mansell, Ayrton Senna era, and then we got a bit more into it. And I was getting a bit older, and Dad was like, "Oh, we're going to see some motorsports." So we went to Brands Hatch and we watched the European Rallycross Grand Prix, which was kind of an end of season event. The brilliant Brands Hatch Rallycross track, which is one I would bring back in a heartbeat if I could.
Yeah.
And it was Will Gollop in the 6R4, who was European champion either that year or the year before or after. Pat Duran was there in Rosie, the Q8 backed RS200. Yeah. And Martin Shanker was there. It was a bunch of people. And I sat in the grandstand at Paddock Hill Bend, and everything appeared sideways out the back of the pit lane. Wah! There's all contact, and it was wicked. It was so good. After that, I'll get into rally and everything. But I think the point was, it was the first motorsport I saw, and it hooks you in straight away. And I think that's one of the key things for me about rallycross is it's really exciting. It's really short. It's very fast. It's very loud. It's mixed surface, so it's not all like Latvia and Loiak will be a bit tidy. But I like the circuits where it's bang, get on the bar and pull it. I love having the variants in circuits. It's important to have them all. But rallycross at its core for me is there's a bit of sideways and all the rest of it. So I don't know. It's just such a great sport. I'm sure you can tell from the way I talk about it. It's just a great motorsport.
It
Jumps, contact.
Yeah. Lots of contact. Arriving in corners completely broad sideways and still making it round.
What about you, Klara? I mean, is it a similar thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, at my first rallycross race in like 2011 or 12 at Höljes, when my sister was doing the GRX. And I remember I was doing go-karts when I was little, and it's all very like tarmac, la la. But I mean, it was such a show. Like, that's when I knew that this is what I want to do when I grow up. Like, it was just madness, but in the best way possible. Like, everything is so like there and there. Like, you have no time to think. It's like these 3-5 minutes that's just flat out. Like, it's the perfect mix of everything I love with motorsport, basically.
Yeah, you're right, actually, about the gut. You think about a kart race is 15 minutes, and Drew, earlier on, you said about being an F1 strategist. You're right. I suppose the difference with an F1 strategy is you've got 72 laps, and normally you can figure out your strategy for 24 of them, let's say. But in rallycross, literally the strategy is immediate. Like, the consequences to turn one are now. Yeah, if you've got a puncture, it's done. Like, I love the immediacy of it all. Maybe that's what we like about it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's do or die or go home.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, you did kind of mention on it, Martin Shanker. We can't really do a rallycross episode without talking about him. He was and became very quickly Mr. Rallycross. Was that because of his driving style or because of the cars that he drove?
I think it was more because he used to stand on the roof after he'd been shunted off in turn one and give the other drivers the finger.
That as well.
I mean, maybe that's unfair, but you know what I mean? It's character, isn't it? Andreas Backerud is very popular because he's a big character. Yeah. And people like that. And Andreas isn't trying to be, Andreas is Andreas. He's nothing like Martin Shanker. Shanker was, but equally, you would expect fireworks from him on the track in turn one with whatever incredible car he created. But when it didn't go his way, you'd expect fireworks again, standing in the middle of the track, forcing a red flag. That's Mr. Rallycross. It's, that's my thoughts anyway. He's probably before your time, Klara, but obviously you're aware of Martin, I'm sure.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. What do you think he brought to the sport, though? Having a superstar driver like that must have done the sport the world of good, especially like in the mid-'80s, in the middle of his career.
I think any time you have a superstar driver, you need characters. We do need that. The Hansen Backerud rivalry was immense. Kristoffersson Ekstrom, brilliant. Klara coming through as top female driver, and I know she doesn't even like to be referred to as female driver. It's not the point, but she's such a role model for girls in the sport. So you need people that people want to follow. Because they're Norwegian, because they're female, because they've got character, because it's Liam Doran, and he's the British bomb, and he used to get in trouble. we need characters, and that for me, I think if ever you have a character, and superstar drivers, like Solberg. Solberg's got a great character, but Solberg's initial draw to the sport was Petter Solberg. He's from the WRC, ultra popular with the fans, and he's coming in with that, and that's what the sport needs. And I think that's what we're doing at the minute. Is we're creating our own heroes, and we're moving on a generation. It's quite scary, really. But like Timmy and Andreas now, they're a bit older. Like Andreas the other day, I was like, we got plenty of drivers in their 50s, but Andreas is the oldest of the last set of drivers. At some point we need new ones coming through, and that was why I was so excited to see Terpainen, Rutkanen, who isn't super young, but he's new, and/or Trepak. Like, we got some mega drivers coming through. So you need the attraction of a superstar driver, and then we need to create our own characters within the sport. And I think we did a good job of that. If you think when we had Block, Loeb, Ekstrom, and Solberg, still Hansen and Baccarat were right up on that list with those people who were definitely more famous than the rallycross drivers before. I'd love to get the sport back to a point where we're making those drivers famous again.
Absolutely. I was going to ask actually how those rally drivers were welcomed into the sport. Were they just welcomed with open arms, or were they seen as sort of outsiders from the rally world?
I think welcomed, to be honest. I think the fan base was stoked to see someone like Petter Solberg come in. You've got to remember as well, though, that at the time, the sport was being taken from, sort of muddy tents and dirty lorries. And lots of people will say it was better back then. There are people who hate the fact that the rallycross has been professionalised. And it maybe went too far. You could rent a car for 30 grand a weekend, and then it costs you 100 grand a weekend. It's the same number of laps. Yeah. So it went a bit factory team. Do you want to pay for somebody to be wearing a white shirt? Is that any better than somebody wearing a dirty overall? No. But Solberg arrived I've got the dog, by the way, if you're wondering. Solberg arrived at the same time that the professional promotion of the sport arrived. So I don't know that necessarily it would have been, I think the people in the paddock would have been like, wicked, Petter Solberg's coming to race us. And I think the viewers at home would have been excited too. Clara, were you watching then? I guess you would have been, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I think I've been following it since it started, basically. And I thought it was a great mix, like someone coming from outside of the rallycross world. But I mean, the level back then, it was so high. It was so cool to follow the races and see the difference in the dynamic on track. For example, comparing Seb to Timmy, for example, it was two completely different driving style, but they were equally on pace. So yeah, I thought it was mega.
I think it's interesting. You get a 9-time world rally champion come to rallycross, and I can't remember how many times Loeb won. It's 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah.
I know he won in Latvia. I think the first year in Latvia, and I can't remember if he won again or not, because I'm terrible like that. But 9-time world rally champion. That's how good you go. And don't get me wrong, none of these rallycross drivers are going to go and beat Seb on a rally. That's not the point. The point is he's the best of the best in rallying, and he came to rallycross. He wiped the floor. He didn't.
Yeah.
And that's because the top of rallycross is very, very high indeed. And I think that's the thing. I think Ekstrom and Kristoffersson are probably the best all-rounders at the top of the sport that we've seen. You know what I mean, don't you, Clara? Like, they could do anything, in everything.
Definitely.
DTM, through to rallying, through to the Dakar. I think it's good. I think it's good these guys come in. I really hope we get some at the World Cup this year. I'd be so stoked if we get random drivers come in. Who do you want, Clara? I've got a list.
I bet you do.
I mean, I would love to see, for example, Seb be there. I mean, we raced together in the Extreme a few years back. Such a great guy, and I mean, he's a brilliant driver, so that would add a lot. And for Mattias to be back, I mean, that would also be epic. I think those are my top 2.
I'd like that. I'd like to see some outsiders come in. So I'd love to see Shane van Gisbergen, and he's famous for the V8s and now NASCAR, and he loves rallycross. He came and did the esports series, didn't he? He's driven rally cars. Yeah. I think he would be an immediate threat. I got a friend called Chris van der Drift, who was a Porsche Carrera Cup champion a couple of times, did A1 GP back in the day. He's interested. And I think the fact we're going out to Asia, we're looking at a different set of sponsors out there. There's lots of money still in Asia, and potentially we could see some drivers come from that region, which I'd love to see.
That'd be cool.
Paddon, let's get some people. That would be cool. And I think Paddon did some Titans RX as well. I can't remember, maybe not. But anyway, randoms. I want to see Scott Speed. I want to get some Americans in. Tanner, I would love to see, and Klara, of course. But I'd love to see some randoms on the grid. I think that would be great fun. It's on your list, I think, Klara, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I'm trying my best to be there for sure.
Well, it's one thing that Rallycross has been good at is attracting people from other disciplines throughout its history. So there's no reason at all that it couldn't continue into the future, especially with what we've got coming in Rallycross in 28, is it, with the new regs when they hit?
So I think, yes, the costs will come down massively with the new regulations, in theory. At the minute you're looking at, let's say, and you never get real figures, let's say 750, 800K for a brand new rallycross car from the top team at the minute, is my understanding. Or that's what it would cost to build the first one.
Yeah.
That's too expensive. That's way too expensive. 250, 300K for a car, that's more acceptable. Don't get me wrong, I can't afford one. That's more than half my house. But that's not the point. There are lots of people who will rent a car, and the rental costs come down. Everything comes down. The cost to repair them, the length of the rebuilds, hopefully. So in theory, if the regs are right and we get the manufacturers, and I don't mean OEMs, I mean teams manufacturing chassis. We can talk OEMs in a minute. Yeah. But the cost should come down a lot, and I think then we could go back to where we were before, which is national importer says, yes, I want Klara in the car in Sweden, I'll pay the 50K to run it. When you're asking for 100, it's a lot of money. And when you need $1 million to do a 10-round season and suddenly you need $500,000, raising that amount of money is two very different things for semi-professional drivers to do. So anything to bring the cost down. I love the sport as it is, but I don't think we'll lose much spectacle if we lose a few horsepower. One thing I do want to see is real bodies on the cars. And I know that at the minute they can manufacture a kind of whatever you want, if you like, as a chassis. I think you have to make 10 is the rule. But I don't want to see a load of jelly molds, if you know what I mean. I want to see, I think people associate with manufacturers. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of jelly mold cars. And I think those people will look to make a great chassis and then hope that an OEM comes on board and says, make it look like the Polo or whatever. So, but I am excited about the new regs, because we couldn't continue with what we were doing last year.
No, it's all technology, isn't it? At the end of the day, I'm assuming there's these cars that we're running in 26, cars from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe now,
even older,
even possibly.
How old are the supercars now? I mean, the Megans are like 20, 2018, 2019, I think 2018, I think. Yes,
wow, I think most cars are from that time.
The Hyundai that you drove, that was newer, isn't it? I guess the GRX cars would be 18, 19. The last of the Peugeots is 18. So they're all knocking on a bit, and this is the other reason the regs have to come, is while we all love the supercars. I suppose nobody's made a new supercar except Rennie Munich. No one's made a new supercar in recent years because they thought there was nowhere to use them because of the electric era. So there wasn't going to be an outlet. So everybody thought, well, the internal combustion cars aren't going to be worth anything. Let's get rid of them. And now you've got the likes of Hansen who would love to do some events, but they don't have any cars. So they've sold all the cars. So they've got 2 cars with an electric drivetrain left in them, which would cost a fortune to change back. So they're stuck, unfortunately.
That is a real shame. I mean, we should probably say that the 28 regs are based on the WRC 27 regs, which is like space frame chassis and the like. But they're designed with tuners in mind, which is just rallycross in a nutshell. It's just like handing them the keys to the factory, effectively. So I really do hope that encourages private tuners back into the sport. Like you say, we see some real cars back on track, because that would be amazing. I do want to just go back and actually talk about something else that's really hugely popular for rallycross. Klara, you'll know a lot about this, and that's the culture. It's not just a sport, is it? It's an entire lifestyle, I guess, especially across Scandinavia.
Yeah, I mean, definitely everyone up here. I mean, I raced in the junior Swedish championship and the Swedish championship in my beginning of my rallycross career back in 2018 to 21. And I mean, in 2150, the class I was driving with my BMW 120, we were, I think, 55 drivers just in that one class in Sweden. And I mean, We have
Wow.
so many great tracks all over Scandinavia, like proper old school rallycross tracks. And I mean, me and my dad, we built my BMW together. He has been building BMWs the whole 90s to zero. And yeah, I mean, it's just such a, like you say, a culture here. Like we love rallycross, and we see the level of the Swedish drivers from looking the past years in World RX, like it's high. And that's, I mean, it's great to see. And yeah, I mean, I hope that it stays this way. I know that the Swedish Championship is going up again with entries and so on. But yeah, I mean, it's the best thing in the world for sure.
It's the festival atmosphere that you guys have attached to it as well. It's not just like a motorsport event. It's a weekend. It is a proper festival. There's other entertainment that goes on as well around the weekends, isn't there? And I was speaking to John Coyne yesterday, and we were saying the same thing. The whole thing needs to be catered towards families rather than, just kids and dads or whatever. To bring whole families, to bring that new generation up, and just to advertise it and just to show, look, this is what it's like, to help grow the sport.
I think so, definitely. I mean, looking at rallycross, it's part of an arena sport. We have a track that's around 1 kilometer, and it's perfect for, I mean, having this venue to do so many things around it. Everyone is gathered at the same place as opposed to rally, for example. And I mean, like we said before, it's 3-5 minutes, and then it's a new heat on the track. But there's also so much possibilities to do things outside of the track, which I think is very attractive to potential partners, to potential manufacturers, and something that I really wish to really take like advantage of in the future and really make the event like proper good, because on track right now it's brilliant, but we also need to build off the track to really make a point for rallycross, in my opinion.
We've seen that with the whole new generation in Formula One and how that's just ballooned the fan base. In fact, I saw a post by what's his surname, Kim, the photographer, the F1 photographer, who says that even he's seen a massive increase, particularly in his female fans, which is great news, absolutely great news, because between the two, that's obviously going to bring the kids up as well. And we're beginning to see that across other disciplines, including rallycross, which, to be fair, has had it for a while, if I'm honest. But it's such an integral and important part to the whole rallycross experience. But the culture goes a little bit further than that, doesn't it? Especially in Scandinavia. I hear that you've actually got a driver pipeline that develops drivers or helps assist drivers in the development.
Yeah, I mean, we also have very good like schools for economics and future engineers around Torsby, I think it's called, where we see, I mean, very, very many of the graduates now work in a proper team in the now European Championship or other teams throughout in Sweden. But like you say, I think it's a lot of passion for building up youngsters. I mean, the ASN and the Sweden national team, which I've been part of since I think 2020, they have helped me so much with advices, with networking, and just really taking care of the youngsters and showing them the path forward. And just, I mean, going to the national camps and speaking to the older people and getting some inspiration, hearing their stories, how they make it. And I mean, that for me has been a vital part in the beginning of my career, at least.
Absolutely. Should we jump forwards then a little bit and get to the good bit, the glory days, as it's known? So, Andrew, am I right in thinking that you joined the commentary crew in 2013, the year before the World Championship hit?
Correct, yeah. So I saw an article in Motorsport News, which was a proper, old-fashioned newspaper that I used to buy every week if you were into motorsport, and it had all the motorsport in it. And it was an article by a guy called James Atwood, who I'm still in touch with now, actually. And he basically had spoken to IMG, who's the big multinational company that was going to be taking over Rallycross, and he'd interviewed a guy called Martin Anai, who ended up running the whole series. And it said, one of the things that I hooked onto immediately was it said, we want to change the TV completely, want the same commentator every week, we want to make a proper TV show. I was like, well, I want to do that. So I'd been commentating since 2009. I just got into lead commentary in 2012. So, doing the exciting side rather than the analysis side.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to do it. Like, I've been commentating racing. I was a rally driver. I'd love rallycross. Let's go. So I sent an email to Motorsport at img.com, which was like their catch-all thing. They had Speedway as well.
Yeah.
And that landed on the desk of Rob Armstrong, who was the head of Motorsport. You always think that'll go to some mailbox that'll just get binned, don't you? It went to Rob Armstrong. He forwarded it to Martin. Unbeknown to me at the same time, Matt Beale, who's still the producer now on European Rallycross and worked with me and Klara on Extreme E and Extreme H. Very funny bloke. And he was working with me on Super League Formula, where I'd just become the lead commentator. That series folded. Me and Matt always joke about killing series. We'll try not to kill Euro. And he said, I've got something I want to talk. We're at Goodwood, and he said, I've got something I want to talk to you about, but after the Olympics. This was 2012, late 2012. He said, I'll talk to you after the Olympics. I'm too busy. I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, I then arranged a meeting with IMG, went to the meeting with IMG, and at it was Matt Beale and Steve Saint, who ended up running the TV for the first TV company. So it came from like 4 or 5 different angles. Matt had wanted to talk to me about doing the commentary for it anyway. He was with the TV production company, and I'd gone to the promoter and said I wanted to do it. So it kind of feels a bit like fate, but you make that luck. People don't usually come to you and go, do you want to do this cool thing? You have to go to them and go, I want to do this cool thing. Give me a chance, And so, I got in 2013. We weren't going to do any live in 2013. And I think we ended up doing 4 or 5 out of the 9 live. And then we went all live the following year. And the plan for the World Championship was 3 to 5 years to turn it from a Euro Championship into a World Championship. And it took 1 year. Yeah. And then it exploded. We were live every weekend then from 2014 onwards, but not every session. That came much later. That was, I want to say 17, 18, but truthfully told, I can't remember. We did our live session from Latvia to see if people liked it, and everybody loved it. And then Sunday was all live, and then before we knew it was like, well, all the gears here, sod it, let's do the whole weekend. So we ended up doing all of it. So I've been on from 2013 through to 2020. So I did 79 events of the World Championship plus the 9 events of Euro prior to that. And then I left when the new promoter came in, didn't particularly get on with them, let's just say. And then I went to Nitro, which was brilliant. And then I just got really lucky when Nitro folded and Extreme E stopped within 10 weeks of each other. 60% of my income had gone out the window. And the FIA took the rights back off the promoter, said, you're not doing very well, we want it back. And I got in touch with the FIA and said, I want to come back. So the timing of it was unbelievable for me, really. And I was very lucky that I had enormous support from the fans, which I'd worked hard to get. I replied to every message I possibly can. I'd stop and say hi to anyone who wants to, if I can. Yeah. And I think that served me really well because, they liked me. And so when I came back, everyone seemed quite pleased. I was a bit worried. They might have forgotten me, but it was so it was short story long, that's sort of my TV run with Rallycross. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, we can't forget the voice of Rallycross, mate.
Exactly.
How can we forget that? No, it's really interesting. That's now the second time I've heard a story similar to that, where somebody has seen an advert or just, well, actually, I'll tell you, it was Molly Pettit from WRC coverage.
Yeah.
She just decided to send an email one day, and the next thing she knows, she's presenting at the end of a rally stage. It's an amazing story. It's to be able to go from just sitting on your sofa seeing an advert, for instance, and the next thing be, where you want to be doing the job that you want to be is brilliant to know that that's a possibility. That's epic. Absolutely epic.
Yeah. It's a lot to be said for chasing after things. You've got to have some balls sometimes. Like, I get kids email me via LinkedIn. They're like, can you help me with this? And if I've got time, again, I'm like, yeah, cool. Let's set up a call. And I'll just try and give them a little bit of advice that will help them along the way. But the most important thing is hard work and being nice. That's also important.
Yes, absolutely. Because
most of the time.
because motorsport is one big family and people really do know everybody.
Oh, you do. It's a small world.
Very small, surprisingly small, actually, sometimes. We've already kind of got Euro RX anyway, haven't we, for the previous years? But 2014, the FIA decided to go all in with a full World Championship. And I think that coincided with coverage on the Rally TV app.
No, that's Rally TV came when the new promoter came in 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah, so they came in 2020, and I think they're going slightly off piece. The biggest mistake they made was putting it behind a paywall.
Yeah.
So when the promoter changed to Red Bull / World RX promoter, they then did the TV coverage themselves again, and they did a nice job with the coverage, but they put it behind a paywall. And when people have been used to seeing it for free, and also you've put it behind a paywall, you've changed the commentary team, who people quite liked. Fair enough, your program, do what you like. But also you were going electric. So you've got... You've changed your commentary team. You've changed the technology, which people don't think they like. They haven't even had the chance to know whether they like it or not because you've put it behind a paywall. So it was for me, the decision making was crazy, and I'm quite open about saying that now. You know, it's all changed and moved on. I think they would take the commentary side out. Obviously, that's more personal to me. It was going electric. You've got to give people a chance to like it. Like put it out live and free on YouTube, and people go, I think it's going to suck, but I'm going to watch it. Oh, wow, actually, it's better than I thought it was.
Exactly.
You killed your own audience by putting it behind a paywall. Klara, I think that decision was mad.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I have never had a problem with electrics. I mean, I've been driving the cars for, 4 years with Volvo CE, and it was amazing cars. And I think electric cars, I mean, it suits rallycross. Like, yes, we love the sound. I get that point, but for rallycross, for entertainment purposes, it's amazing. Like the instant torque, the acceleration. We can be in downtown Hong Kong like we were in 2023, no problem. It's so cool. But doing all those changes at the same time, it's risky. I mean, and the stuff being behind a paywall nowadays. I mean, there's so many coverage for free that not many people would want to pay for it. Then we need to sell it first and then maybe take that decision. But yeah, I'm not an expert, but it was difficult times for sure.
Yeah, bad timing. Yeah. Bad timing.
Was that the start of the problem then for rallycross?
I think so. I mean, the paywall, definitely you've culled your audience. Your audience is what all your sponsors are saying they want to, they all want numbers now. How many people are going to see it? How many people are going to watch it? How long did they watch for across all the different social media platforms and everything? So first of all, you've killed your audience. And I know the numbers, they were appalling compared to what it was before, which is such a shame because the sport was still brilliant. Like there was a year of internal combustion afterwards. And as Klara said, we had the new Dawn, and love or loathe electric, like the uptake was pretty decent at first. Something like 8 or 10 cars with the Lancias, which unfortunately were lost in a fire, which again was another devastating effect for the sport because if, let's say you're a manufacturer and you go, you know what, this looks pretty cool, we'll come in. Then you see the fire at Linden Hill, a technical fault on the battery and the cars went up. If I was a manufacturer, I'd be going, eeeh. So, Klara knows that the Volvo CE cars, they're not Volvos, they're race cars with a drivetrain underneath, but with the kind backing of Volvo construction equipment. That was a little bit of a different deal. But if you're saying, okay, let's choose a manufacturer that's not involved, that's going to be my Fiat Panda rallycross car, and then it catches fire to the public. They go, the Fiat Panda electric car catches fire. It's nothing to do with the Fiat Panda. In just the same way, 90% of a rally car is not the same as it is on the road car. It's like your headlights, your windows, and some of the body panels. Often that's it. Yeah. So you've had a fire, and that again, it was really unlucky. The promoter can't do anything about that. It was just pure bad luck. But millions of pounds worth of stuff went up in smoke. And suddenly, if I'm a manufacturer, I'm going to have to go, I need to see another 3 or 4 years of this before I can get involved because I can't risk the public viewing that as my Fiat Panda going up in flames. It wasn't that. And sorry, apologies to Fiat. Just a random example. But you see what I mean? That was another negative for me because it would have put people on the back foot if they were looking at coming into it. But I missed loads of that racing, obviously, because I wasn't doing it. And Klara, I mean, it was a good time for you. And I'm always gutted for you because obviously you've been a paid professional driver and that came because of the electric era. And now that's gone for you and it's hard for you to get back on the grid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I won the Swedish championship with my BMW in 2021, and then got approached from Volvo CE that they were creating this team in World RX with the new electric cars, and that opportunity. I mean, that's a 1 in a million opportunity that I got thanks to them going into rallycross because of the electric cars. And we all know the budget that it's too high right now. I mean, it's incredibly difficult, and I don't think I would have ever made it to World RX without Volvo CE and PWR. I mean, I'm forever grateful for them. And now I'm sitting here and don't have a drive yet. I've been working every day for the last 6 months, just trying to find the budget, but it's incredibly hard. So yeah, it's difficult times. No one knows yet what's right, what's wrong. But I think and I hope that rallycross is on the way up again, and that we can all look back and see a good future in a couple of years.
I've got one thought on the manufacturer involvement, which I would love to see. You know, increasingly we're seeing manufacturers now saying we're canning our all-electric products. You know, so a couple of manufacturers, I believe Honda said something the other day about only doing hybrids moving forward. I'd love to see hybrid in rallycross. Now, it didn't really work in rally because it was a lot of extra weight to carry around to basically drive through the service area on an electric motor. Meh. Pointless. But imagine a smaller battery, but which gave a 50 horsepower boost on a button on the wheel, a bit like we've seen with Extreme E. You know, we had a moment where you could use it. Maybe use it in the Joker lap. Maybe everybody knows you need to use it going up the hill. Tactically, something which can maybe it's only deployed once a race. You know, an element which would bring in the ability for manufacturers to do hybrid, and maybe they could do the hybrid part of the drivetrain themselves, and we could limit them on the internal combustion, or vice versa. So I don't know if that's the way manufacturers are going to go. Maybe that could be brought in future. But yeah, the minute it will be in line with the 27 regs, we do. Do we want manufacturers? I think we do, because as drivers, you want to get paid. Yeah. And the only way for drivers to get paid is manufacturers. So if a manufacturer came in now, like for me, in Extreme E and Extreme H, the most valuable commodity is the female driver, because the pool of female drivers who are good enough is much smaller than the pool of males at the minute. And that's what we're trying to fix in motorsport, is the pyramid. You know, not enough girls are encouraged to do it. Girls are encouraged to do horse racing, horse riding, or makeup. Yeah, and I think about magazines on the shelves. Yeah, I'm not being sexist here. You think about kids' magazines. The girls' one is full of dresses and makeup and sparkles and horses, and the lads' one is full of cars and guns and lorries and trucks and stuff. And so you have to we have to get a wider base at the bottom of girls who want to do motorsport. That comes from Klara being at the top, inspiring the pyramid down. So at the minute, you've got 1 million guys doing it. 100,000 have got the money. 10,000 have got the talent as well. 1,000 make it. 100 are really exceptionally good, and 10 are world champion material. You know, now take the female pyramid, it's much smaller. So the female commodity is much, much more valuable. If I was a manufacturer coming into rallycross now, and of course this is what Volvo saw in Klara, I want publicity. What can I do that's different to having 2 Scandinavian guys driving my cars? Well, I want Klara to drive the car, not only because she's female, but because she's bloody good at it as well. It's no good just being a token gesture. You've got to be good at it. And they proved they're good at it. And the pace differential in Extreme E and Extreme H has come down by something like 80% over the 4 years of the series.
Yeah.
It's met. And again, Klara, I'll tell you more about that. So I'd love to have manufacturers back, because it gives our drivers a chance to earn more money. And obviously the series is healthier if there's money coming into it. What I don't want to see is what we saw last time, which is the costs triple when the manufacturers arrive. So you have to find a way to make sure that if they do come, we limit what they can spend their money on. A bit like in F1 with the spend cap. Yes, you can have a nice truck, but you know, it can't be costing 3 times what it cost last year if they come in 3 years' time, let's say.
It's about getting that pyramid, and it starts right at the bottom, I believe, with the schools. Get the kids involved at school age. I mean, Andrew, you were mentioning about like girls' magazines and stuff. Well, not in my house. So I did an interview last night, and my middle kid, who's 8, came in and went, "Dad, can I do that BTC show with you now?" And she actually made me set everything up, sat on my knee, and did a 10-minute show.
Brilliant.
So that's exactly what we need to do.
But she's surrounded by it, isn't she, Drew, because of your interest in it. And that's what's so good is, you know, Klara probably grew up in a paddock. And so to some extent, Klara, you know, with your sister, did you say your dad raced as well?
And my mom.
And your mum.
No.
But again, you see there, so straight away, so they grew up not only in the paddock, but mum raced in the paddock too. So how cool is that? And then there's, well, if mum can do it, I can do it. And so we have to show. And I think the other thing, what you said, Drew, about schools is really interesting. I want people, motorsport's so cool. Like, it's such a great thing to work in. There are no sucky jobs in motorsport. If you work in motorsport, it's cool. Like, you be an engineer, be a spotter, be a team manager, do the logistics, do the social media, run the kitchen, be the tyre person. It doesn't matter what you do. There are so many roles in motorsport, and you don't have to have a degree to do them. You don't have to be rich to do them. You have to know that the opportunity is there to do them if you work hard. Yes, being a driver, being rich helps massively. It's simple as it just does. But we need the next generation of everybody to come through doing it. And when I say we need to increase female participation, we've got much better representation, I feel, Klara, in rallycross than some other motorsports of females in the paddock.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And a little bit like we mentioned before, what Ekstrom have done for women in motorsport, that's what Volvo CE and PWR did for me in rallycross. Like, they gave me the chance in a gender equal lineup to join the top level of rallycross with Niklas as my teammate. And I mean, I was terrified. I mean, I've been almost never driven a four-wheel driven car before, never driven a supercar, and just thrown into the deep end, but meeting just the top level in the world. But it's the best decision I ever made to take that leap of faith and just try it out. And I learned so much. And what really makes me happy is to see how many girls in the paddock and on my events with Volvo CE that we still do with the promo car for these young girls, that they really see now motorsport as something that they could do in the future as driver, as mechanic, as engineer. Like, there's so many that comes up to me and says that I want to be a driver now because I saw you race. And that makes me like the happiest girl in the world, like, honestly, because I was lucky enough, like I said before, to have my mom and my sister to do it. So I already had my role models, but to just show them that you can do it, that makes me so happy.
That's within the paddock, though. What about further afield, let's say on your socials? Are you seeing much engagement there from other women?
Yeah, I mean, I still have most men following me, unfortunately, which makes sense also because of like motorsport. But I also try to, I mean, I'm a girl that has like other hobbies as well. I mean, I love makeup, I love clothes, I love like workout. I worked for a gym as a personal trainer for many years. So I try to show that side as well, that I'm not only a driver, and just to see the bigger picture. And on those type of posts, I see a lot of engagement from the girls. So yeah, my goal is to maybe bring them to like the other motorsport stuff as well. But yeah, like we said before with the Formula One and Drive to Survive, it has done wonders for the series. And I'm hoping in a few years' time that we can see more of girls following the FIA Rallycross.
That would be cool. I mean, as you said, we've got Drive to Survive Formula One. Rallying has more than machine, which, to be honest, they really do need to make a lot more of because it's an amazing show. That's on YouTube as well. Be quite nice to see something for Rallycross, actually, a genuine behind-the-scenes story-driven show that we could follow and we could see what goes into it. I mean, it's great watching it on YouTube and watching the heats and everything happen and getting really excited for the final. But what does it take to get there? You know, what are the guys in the paddock doing, you know, whilst they're groveling in mud or dust or whatever it is to get the car back on circuit because, you know, there's been an incident on track or whatever, to be able to get them into the final so that they can go and win. I mean, do we have any all-female or predominantly female crews currently competing? That'd be cool.
It would be. We don't really, Klara, do we? We have lots of teams. There were lots of females of the CE dealer team. Definitely, there were. You had at least two or three. Ida Stromas wasn't there, and
Sandra Holtgren was there.
Sandra Holtgren,
Anna Palander, Päivi, Laura.
So, yeah, there you go. So see, I'm terrible with names. I can remember all the team from our Instagram. But and I remember we had female mechanics back in the days of Peugeot Sport. Obviously, we've had the likes of Suzanne Hansen and Petter Solberg as team managers. So, there have been teams with more female involvement than others, but we haven't got an all-female team. Something like that would be cool. That was actually talked about in Nitro Rallycross, was an all-female team, and they were looking at finding sponsors to do it, specifically based on that. And I think that could be a really cool concept. But again, that's extra work, and it's already hard enough to raise the money to do it with an established team, let alone one which is not. But I think it'd be cool. What you said about behind-the-scenes thing, it would be great. It needs an incredible amount of resource to do it the way that they do it in F1. Yeah, Drive to Survive is mega, but the resource they've got is insane. Like what they use to make that show would blow out of the water what we use to make the entire live coverage. You know, it would be cool. I think the other thing is, obviously, in some ways it's a bit done to death in that every series has their own behind the scenes thing. We had a behind the scenes thing on Extreme E. I do like it, but then I also look at Andreas Backward. He tried so hard with Backward Life. He worked his butt off with Backward Life, which was his YouTube series, and goes through the peak of World RX. But I think unless you're back at that peak of World RX, you know, finding the money, because again, unfortunately, it costs money. So yes, you've got your sponsors, and so, but then if you want someone to follow you on social media and do the edits, and you got to pay for their hotel and the rest of it, I can immediately see that costing at least $5,000 an event on a basic level immediately. And when you're scratching to find the money to run the car, it becomes even harder. So that's another reason you want the manufacturers back. They're a double-edged sword. You know, if they're going to come in and bring brilliant coverage, let's go. But it's sport is, I think, one of the biggest lessons really. And something which the fans often don't realise with comments they make about things is that it is a business. The whole thing is a business from top to bottom. Yeah, I love my job, but I don't do it for free. I do it, and I pay my bills with it. You know, and it's a great privilege to do something you love as your job. I don't love it always. There are days where I'm like, just get me out of here, get me home. Like if it's all gone horribly wrong, just as the same as a driver. But you know, we don't do it for free, and of course that's the problem for the drivers at the minute. Is not only are they having to do it for free, but they're having to raise the money to come and do it. So manufacturers, cost, money, business. When you really get into the nitty gritty of it, it's incredibly complicated in the background.
Well, you brought back manufacturers there. Wasn't the whole or one of the reasons for electrification pressure from those manufacturers to be more relevant to the automotive world, but also in like 17, 18, the manufacturers that we did have in Rallycross had already started to leave?
I think personally, if it was going to go electric, it needed to go electric then. Like, sadly, it needed to go, which would have been gutting because we'd have missed like some brilliant seasons of internal combustion. But having said that, it might have been brilliant if we'd had 4 manufacturers and it had really blown up and they'd all done 4-car teams. Yeah, that was the idea at one point, was 4 manufacturers with 4 cars each to give us the 16 cars we needed for a good entry with semis and finals. There were several manufacturers who said, I'll sign up for electric, but I won't be the first. You get me 2 others and I'll sign up with them. So if IMG had managed to get 3, then you might have snowballed and ended up with 6 manufacturers. But we weren't quick enough. And then the manufacturers left for differing reasons. So it was daft things like Audi had DTM, and did they do Formula E? Audi, I think they did, didn't they?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, and their basically their board had said you can have 1 electric and 1 combustion. So they were like, well, we're not going to leave DTM, we're stakeholders in it, and we've got electric with Formula E, we're out. So they were gone, and it's this is they're making cuts. Peugeot were acquired by another manufacturer. I can't see which way round it was, and there was a problem with the emissions over the entire thing. So they were not that Motorsport was that problem, but basically each of the manufacturers left for their own ever so boring business reasons in the background, and left Volkswagen on their own. You know, the rumours are still about the whole Ford situation, whether or not the team actually liked the Focus. You know, whether Ken liked the Focus was one thing. I think everybody at the time kind of wished it was the Fiesta back in the day. It was a great program, but again, Ford went, and whether it was the board or where the decision was made will only be known by those who were much higher up. But once those 3 were gone, you're left with Volkswagen. It's like, all right, we've won it loads of times, see you later. And that left us with a massive void. And ironically, when they were gone, we then had the best championship year we've had in a long, long time in 2019. So again,
it's interesting to hear that everybody was waiting for everybody else before they signed up and got on board.
No one wants to be first.
I'm surprised at that when it comes to the electric side. I really am, because I thought with the way that the automotive world was going, the pressure from the FIA, the environmental side of it, I thought they would have jumped on that like hotcakes. I'm so surprised that they didn't.
I'll say, yeah, maybe two, maybe the 2 or 3 were interested, but they've got to be interested and have millions of euros available at the same time. And it's got to fit the marketing program. You've got to have a product that you want to promote. The focus was the product Ford wanted to promote. The RS had come out, and it's a mega road car. It's great fun. And so, of course, they wanted something that's relevant, and that's the old thing of manufacturers wanting something that's relevant. So they chose the Focus. Arguably, might have had more success with a Fiesta because it's a slightly smaller car, a bit like Subaru in the States, struggled sometimes with the bigger car versus things like the Audis. Having 4 manufacturers involved was incredible. I say that's when it felt like sitting on a rocket, really, that the sport was just doing this. And then maybe it didn't go electric in time. By the time it had gone electric, other people had already done it. Then the paywall, then the fire, and it's had a rough few years. And also, I think, unfortunately, although I've had the great pleasure of working on Nitro Rallycross and Extreme E, we then had 3 series which were all doing quite similar things. We had electric rallycross in America, electric rallycross in Europe, and electric rallycross in Extreme E. So now you're all looking at the same pool of drivers, sponsors, and manufacturers, Klara, and it becomes even muddier.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been part of both Extreme E and World RX now since 2022, and like you said, like many of the drivers, we were doing both series. So yeah, I mean, it's done so much for the sport, and I'm eternally grateful for that. But it's also cool now to see something new with FIA Extreme H World Cup, for example.
Yes.
Now with the FIA Rallycross going to Indonesia for their first World Cup. I mean, that's gonna be brilliant. So yeah, I think the future is looking bright. That's what my gut feeling is saying, and I hope that it will be true.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're heading in the right direction. Yeah, we tried electric; it didn't work. If it comes again in future, we'll see. But I think for the foreseeable, it's not going to be. And I think the fans love having the noise back. I've loved having the noise back. If we can make it more affordable again, so the likes of Klara can get back on the grid. Yeah, they're seeing the fans in Latvia go mad, and smash, but like, it was just everything about it was pretty. We've gone full circle back to the start, Drew, of what you said about how great Latvia was, and it really does feel like it's a reboot. I'm grateful to the FIA. Look at me, right on brand with my FIA World Championship,
Love that.
European Championship. It was just the first bit. It's the only bottle that's not in the kitchen with the wall knocked down. It's. I think they're doing a good job. It's a small team of people at the FIA. This isn't a promoter with they're spending money to keep the sport going and get it going in the right direction. I think it's quite a brave decision by the FIA, and I think they're doing well. And I think you've only got to look at the number of entries we had and the resurgence of interest in the sport. And if the sport's good at the top, then it's like the pyramid we talked about for male and female drivers, but it's the same as the sport of the pyramid of the sport itself. If it's not strong at the top, it gets weaker at the bottom. And the kids, instead of wanting to go do rallycross, they go do karting and they want to do endurance racing and all the rest of it. If rallycross looks cool and people are getting paid, or at least winning world titles at the top of it, and it feels like you might be able to achieve it as a career, which was Johan was like, not going to win F1, I'm too tall, this is too expensive, we could do rallycross, and that could be something that we see other youngsters make that decision, and we're booming again. So fingers crossed.
Klara, can I just ask, as you basically got your chance through the electric side of things, how do you actually see the return to ICE-powered cars then?
I mean, I've always had the feeling that why do you have to choose? I mean, I love both technologies and both different cars for different reasons. I mean, I love driving the electric cars for the instant torque. I love the new chapter of the technologies, of the engineering side with the software and everything. I find that very, very interesting and intriguing. At the same time, I mean, I love to drive an ICE supercar. I mean, last year in Loak, I drove for the first time, and it was mega. I love having the gearbox. That's the one thing with the prop shaft that I miss maybe in the electric car, that you can do more as a driver, especially on the loose surface. But I mean, to be honest, I love the project. I'm hoping to drive those cars again sometime in the future. Right now, it's the ICE cars are back, and you need to adapt. I mean, we need to listen to the car manufacturers and also in the society. What cars, what technology do we push right now? And right now, many people are going back to other technologies, and you need to adapt. basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know how quickly the wider world can adapt, but I've been a huge advocate for sustainable fuels now for a while because it allows us to keep the noise, the bangs, the flames, and everything we love about motorsport and still be pretty much green. Maybe not totally, but, at least, I did a thing about 3 years ago where I wrote an article, and P1 fuels at that point were 85% green, they said. With a plan to becoming more like up towards 95%. So if you look at, the top teams now, if we get to a point where sustainable fuel is green, the great thing about sustainable fuel is you can roll it out. So in 10, 15 years with the right infrastructure and investment, we could put it in our own cars, which will save motorsport in the way that we love to have it. And then maybe one day we could have a bit of both and we could have like a return to the battle of technologies that we had a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe on a bit more on an even keel.
It's a bit like moving from Nokias to iPhones, isn't it? The technology change, you've got to invest in it at some point. And maybe we'll see the oil companies, I guess most of them are already investing into sustainable fuels because they know it's coming and they don't want to lose their income. It's like tobacco companies making vapes, isn't it? Well, you ban one thing, we'll do something else. It's a terrible example, but very motorsport as well.
Yes.
And maybe we could see that down the pipeline, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, if it keeps the noise, I'm all for it.
Mate, I'm all over it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
We should do everything we can as a sport, really, to be environmentally friendly. But I always think, motorsport gets slated for being not environmentally friendly, but a soccer game has 100,000 people drive there in their cars. If you add up it's all very well going, but you fly everything everywhere anyway. What we're not flying players around the world on private jets. I don't want to see sport stopped on those bases.
No.
You can nitpick and what about the Olympic Games? Well, yeah, okay, everyone had to come from somewhere else, but it's the Olympic Games. So there's being environmental and there's being over the top, and I don't think we should be over the top about it. I think we should do our best to limit our impact, but you should do that with whatever you do. Do your recycling in the kitchen. If everyone did a little bit more, it'd all be a little bit better. But people get funny, don't they?
And we can offset as well. Plant a few more trees.
Well, we exactly. We'll plant some trees around the outside of the track. Look at Hollius. It's got tons of trees around it.
Exactly.
And Riga.
Already ahead of the curve. That's brilliant. So how do we feel the future's going to look then in about 5-10 years? Are we hopeful?
Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Klara Andersson, world champion.
Yes, please. I will sign up for that. Absolutely. Let's see the new regs if the car will be fast. But I have a good gut feeling for the championship. I think, like you said, Latvia was great. My home race coming up now very soon, and then hope to be back on the grid sometime this year. But I think the FIA have done a great job trying to now rebuild the series and try to make it what it once was, which I think you can't do. I mean, there's always a past, but we need to make the future great. So, yeah, I'm feeling good, definitely.
A lot of people online are asking, is Rallycross dead? So from your perspective, inside and on the paddock, what would you say to that? What's actually happening?
No, it's just beginning. I mean, Rallycross, it has such a heritage, but I mean, now there are lots of new things coming, new regs, new teams joining, a lot of drivers on the grid, FIA doing a great job with it. So, I mean, hopefully, I have a good gut feeling that it will become very, very bright in the future.
Absolutely. Right, guys. Very last thing, final thought before we go.
I mean, I think Rallycross is back. Rallycross is on the way to become bigger than ever before, I hope. And it's great to see the vibes coming, and hope to be back on the grid soon.
Well, thank you very much both for your time today. I've enjoyed the show so much. I haven't covered half of what I intended to, but it's been brilliant nonetheless.
Yeah, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us on. Always too much to talk about, especially when it comes to Rallycross. So we'll come on again later on in the season.
Perfect.
Let's do that.
Perfect.
Thank you, mate. Thanks very much for having us on. See you soon.
Anytime, mate. Thanks a lot. Cheers, guys. Bye.